Good morning. Today we shall study Shakespeare's play The Merchant of Venice. Before explaining this play, first of all, I want to explain the word romantic comedy. It is a romantic comedy, it is a Shakespearean comedy, it is an Elizabethan comedy. Shakespeare belongs to the Elizabethan age, that's why it is an Elizabethan comedy. Let me explain the word romantic. Romantic means sentimental, remote from reality, full of the spirit of adventure, attraction for women. This play, which was written in 1596, and there are 2678 lines in this play. The longest play of Shakespeare is the Hamlet, and the shortest play of Shakespeare is the Comedy of Errors. Romantic comedy is the name given to that type of comedy in which we have two elements, romance and laughter. By romance is meant something that is strange and remote from reality. The most significant feature of romantic comedy is that its atmosphere and characters are so toned up that they appear to be real, that they appear to be strange and peculiar. The comedies of Shakespeare are romantic because in them the scenes and situations are depicted by means of the magic casement of imagination which transforms reality. The setting of all the comedies of Shakespeare, I am not talking about only the Merchant of Venice, the setting of all the comedies of Shakespeare is imaginative. And the names of the places such as Arden, Elyria, Euphues and Belmont in this play are the figments of the dramatist's imagination. In the comedies of Shakespeare, there is a beautiful intermingling. There is a beautiful intermingling of realism and strangeness. Love is the central theme of the comedies of Shakespeare. The moment we think of a Shakespearean comedy, the picture of a heroine comes uppermost to our mind. Ruskin says that Shakespeare has no heroes, he has only heroines, is justly applicable to his comedies and not to his tragedies. This play, The Merchant of Venice, the title of this play, The Merchant of Venice, which is given on a passive character. Antonio is a passive character in the play, and the title of the tragedies of Shakespeare given by on the name of the powerful character of the play. Now, let me explain the dramatic devices that is used in this play. After explaining the dramatic devices, I shall start explaining the textbook. Dramatic devices in this play is used aside, soliloquy, dramatic irony. First, let me explain the use of soliloquies and aside. The use of soliloquies and aside was a dramatic convention when Shakespeare started his dramatic career as a dramatist. He succeeded in making a very effective use of a soliloquy. A soliloquy must be distinguished from an aside. In an aside, other characters besides the protagonists are also present, but they are not supposed to hear his words. In a soliloquy, no other character except the speaker is present. Soliloquy is used in Act 2nd, Scene 2nd, only once in that scene. But aside is used here, there, and everywhere. In this play, Shakespeare used dramatic irony. Dramatic irony may be described as contrast between the two meanings of the same speech. Dramatic irony appears when it is suggested that a character's speech has two meanings. The first meaning is obvious and the other meaning is hidden. The character concerned is ignorant of this hidden meaning because it is something sinister and harmful for him. But the hidden meaning is, however, at once perceived by the audience. In Act 2nd, Scene 7th, the last speech of Graciano, that scene ends with the last speech of Graciano. There is a rhyming scheme. This play is written in blank verse. Unrhymed iambic pentameter is called blank verse. Rhymed pentameter is called heroic couplet. Geoffrey Chaucer wrote his poetry in heroic couplet, but this play was written in blank verse. But some speeches of the characters are in prose. Shakespeare used prose in this play to lower down the pitch of the speech, to lower down the dramatic pitch. That's why Shakespeare used prose in this play. In this play, three words you have to keep in your mind: exposition, tangent, and resolution. In the exposition part of the play, the dramatist introduces us to the dramatic persona, the dramatic characters of the play. But in the second, third, and fourth act, that is a tangent. Problem is created in second, third, and fourth act. And the last act, fifth act, is a resolution part. In that act of the play, the solution to the problem that is created in second, third, and fourth act, that is given there. The play, the act first, scene first, starts with exposition. The dramatist presents before us his dramatic characters, his dramatic persona. He introduces us to his characters like Antonio, Slario, Slanio, Bassanio, Nerissa, Porcia, Graciano, Lancelot Gogo, Jessica, Lorenzo, some minor and some major characters of the play. You will be introduced in the first act of the play, that is called exposition part. Dear students, let us start the textbook of the play. This is the opening scene. Act first, scene first. The opening scene gives the exposition, the situation on which the story is based. I have already explained what is exposition means. Exposition is the first act of the play in which the dramatist introduces you to the dramatic characters. We are introduced to Antonio, the merchant who gives the title. I have already explained that the comedies of Shakespeare are named after the passive character, but the tragedies of Shakespeare are named after a strong character. This is the difference between tragedy and comedies of Shakespeare. we are introduced to Antonio the merchant, who gives the title to the drama. Interest is heightened by showing him in a melancholic mood. You will find Antonio in a melancholic mood, in a sad mood, in a depressed mood, and his friends Slarino, and other characters guess and then explain in their own ways the reason behind the sadness of Antonio. Slarino and Slanio, his friends, give various reasons for his sadness and try to bring him out of it. They try their best to take Antonio out of sadness. Bassanio, the closest friend of Antonio. Friend, partisan, associate, chum, ally, follower, supporter, victor, pal, comrade, companion. These are the synonyms of friend. You can write any word which you prefer best. The closest friend of Antonio, the fast friend of Antonio, the best, staunchest old friend of Antonio, ask for a loan, 3,000 ducats. He needs to present himself as a suitor to Portia in Belmont. In order to present himself as an eligible suitor to Portia, a rich heiress of Belmont. Antonio's ships are still at sea. He don't have ready cash. His big commercial ships are sailing in different parts of the world. That's why he had no ready cash. But he authorizes Bassanio to use his good name for credit and get a loan from the moneylenders. Antonio authorizes Bassanio that you should go in the city of Venice, try to find out someone who can give you loan on my credit. I will be your guarantor. I will be your security for the loan which you will take from the market. Scene first, Venice, a street. Enter Antonio, Slarino, and Slanio. Antonio, in sooth. In sooth means in truth, in reality. I know not why I am so sad. I do not know the reason why I am so sad. What is the reason behind my sadness? It wearies me. It wearies me. The sadness makes me tired. You say it wearies you. Here, first weary means tired, second wearies means bores. Antonio says, it wearies me, means the sadness makes me tired. Then you say, it wearies you, it bores you, means my sadness bores you. Slarino, you say. You say, Slarino, that my sadness bores you. But how I cut it? Cut it means acquired it. From where I acquired it? Found it. From where I got it? Or came by it? From where I came in contact with this sadness? What stuff it is made of? What material it is made of? Whereof it is born? What was the origin of this sadness? I am to learn means I am yet to learn the things which I have explained, which I have mentioned above. And such a want with sadness makes of me. Want with means foolish, absent-minded fellow. Means this sadness makes me a foolish fellow. This sadness makes me an absent-minded fellow. And such a want with sadness makes of me that I have much ado. Ado means a trouble. And I have much ado to know myself. Okay, due to my sadness, I have a lot of trouble to recognize myself. Okay, Slarinousage. Your mind is tossing on the ocean. Tossing here means troubled. Your mind is tossing on the ocean. Antony was the big merchant of Venice. He was a very affluent man of the city of Venice. So Slarino said, your mind is tossing on the ocean. Means you are thinking about the big commercial ships which are sailing in different part of the world, which are sailing in the ocean. You are thinking about those big commercial ships. That's why you are looking very sad and dejected and depressed. There where your Argos is with portly sail. Argos is big commercial ships. Portly means steadily. There where your Argos is with portly sail means your merchandise ships are sailing in different parts of the world. That's why you are looking very sad and dejected and depressed. Like Signor and rich bubblers on the flood are as it were the pageants of the sea. Your merchandise ships are sailing in the ocean. They are sailing in the ocean as the procession is going on the street. And small commercial ships are giving way to your big merchandise ships, bowing their head as before, like Signor and rich burghers on the flood. Signor means gentleman, nobleman of the city. Rich burghers means important citizens, respectable citizens, as small peoples are bowing their head in front of the gentlemen, in front of important citizens, respectable citizens of the city. In the same way, when your merchandise ships, when your big commercial ships are sailing in the ocean, small ships are giving way to your merchandise ships so that your merchandise ships can pass smoothly from one place to another. Do overpeer the petty trafficker. Overpeer means look down upon or surpass or look down upon with contempt. Do overpeer the petty traffickers. Petty traffickers means small commercial boats. When your merchandise ships are passing, then small commercial boats are looking down upon to your big commercial ships with contempt. That courtesy to them, and that's why small commercial boats bow in respect, do them reverence, that move up and down as if they were showing respect to your big commercial ships. As they fly, as they speed past by them with their woven wings, with their canvas sails. Thank you.